Hello friends and Happy New Year. Today we are doing a video with some rusty crusty, some beautiful salvaged wood that you are absolutely going to love, and you guessed it, a spindle. Let's get started. I found these little letters at Pop Shelf and I bought an H, an O, an M, and an E to spell home. And I knew I wanted to do some type of project. And when I got them, all of the letters are not the same color. You'll see that a little later. These were some resin pours that I did with an IOD mold. And this is just a piece of salvaged wood that was not treated lumber. It was just some pieces of wood that had been cut and scrapped. It does look like that it has been out in the weather. Excuse me. So it has been weathered a little bit, which is, what we like around here. And so I'm just going to take this little hand sander that I have, I got off Amazon, and just sand it down a little bit and make it a little bit smooth to work with. Here you can see that the colors of these are different. Now I picked them up all in the same area. All of the tags look exactly the same, so I'm not quite sure why they look a little bit different. But we're going to make them look all the same. We're going to take the Dixie Belle patina paint in iron. I'm just going to take one of these little sponge pouncer, dabber brushes, and we're going to paint it with the patina, the iron patina by Dixie Belle, because we're going to rust all of this up. And you've seen me do this in previous videos, and this has become quickly one of my new favorite methods. I'm in love with this, so just be prepared to see it a lot. I found a local stockist for Dixie Belle, so I'm able to just pop over and purchase products from him. Now, this is the second coat. On the second coat, you apply the spray while the second coat is still wet. Now, I'm lifting these off of this paper towel because, I don't want them to stick. Okay, I'm going to take the patina spray in green. I'm going to shake it a little bit. And I'm going to put it on the spray, not the stream. And I'm just going to give it all a quick little spray. I'm also going to take the spray patina spray in blue, which actually turns it green, which is kind of interesting. The green one turns it kind of orange, and this one is going to have that green turquoise patina look. And I'm just going to let it dry. I did dry it with my heat gun a little bit, and then I got pulled out of the craft cottage for some reason or another. I can't remember why right now. And I had to let it dry overnight. You can see how rusty crusty it is on that paper towel. Isn't that some goodness? Now, I want my screws to match. We can't have them looking all shiny and new. So I did the same procedure on the heads of the screws. Now, I'm going to use some Elmer's school glue, and I ran out of Elmer's school glue, so part of it I used Mod Podge. They both work the same. Now, this method, in case you don't know, wherever you leave the glue or the Mod Podge thicker, you're going to have more crackle. So you put the paint on while your glue is still wet. You do not go over the glue more than once. One stroke, maybe a second little dab here and there, but if you go back and forth, it's going to drag it and you're going to mess it up. So I did that, and now I'm just going to kind of go around the edges. I'm just working in a little section at a time because I knew I didn't have much glue, and I'm going to use the Mod Podge. Plus, I was really trying to see what it was going to look like just on the wood without putting a base coat of paint down first. And you know what? It worked really good. It turned out really good. So you can see that crackle, and the heat gun actually helps the crackle to, crackle a little better. I don't know. That's kind of hard to find the words to say that. Now I'm going to use my little finger sander, the edges, the tip and the edges, to kind of just make some little extra distress on this piece. And then I'm going to take my drill and I'm going to go in at an angle because I'm going to make a hanger, and I want the hanger to go in at the sides. I'm going to put it on the sides. So I don't care if they're actually even. I don't really care if they're even. So I'm just eyeballing it the best I can. Now, I acquired this. This is some salvaged, rusty, crusty baling wire. We call it baling wire where I'm from, because we used to bale hay, you know, in those little square bales. Now they have the big round bales. When I was growing up, we had baling wire. And when they took the hay bales apart to feed the cows, my grandpa always saved the wire off the hay bales. So I come from a long line of hoarders, just in case you're wondering. But anyway, I don't even know where I got this wire from, but I found it in my stash. It's all rusted and crusted, and I'm trying really hard not to poke myself with this so I don't have to go get a tetanus shot. Yeah, I'm trying to be really careful because it is rusty. I do love it. If you don't like the rusty, crusty look, you do not have to do this. This is just for inspiration for something different. Now, I'm going to put the screws in, all the letters, and this is what it looks like. I love it. And I'm just going to glue down these 2 resin pieces with some Titebond Quick and Thick. You can get that on Amazon. I think you can buy it at Walmart. I have it in my Amazon storefront in case you want to just take a look and see what it's all about. You can Google it. I'm also going to use a little dab of hot glue to hold it in place so it doesn't slide around until that Titebond Quick and Thick dries completely, and it does dry quick, because hence the name. But I don't want it sliding around and moving around when I continue to work on the rest of this piece, which once I get this down, it's done. I am going to put some clamps on there so that it really holds it nice and tight until it gets completely dry. For this DIY, we're going to start out with this little piece of salvaged wood I got from Home Depot from the clearance section. This little piece of spindle off of a mid-century modern shelf, and this vintage lamp part. It still works. The writing is right here, so the lamp hung this way, just like you see me holding it. So the globe would have been on the underneath. We're going to use this spindle as a base, and we're going to make a little candle holder. This turns out so cute. This was sort of a happy accident. I am just going to do the little dowel rod method to put this together. You can just see what I'm doing here, drilling some holes, using some little dowel sticks to put this all together. I was going through my stash, and I was just kind of stacking stuff up on a shelf to say, I'm going to get all this stuff out and see what I can do with it. And when I stacked all these pieces together, this is how I stacked them together. And I turned around and looked, and this is what it looked like. So this was just kind of, like I say, it was just a happy accident that I just stacked it all together. I'm going to use the Titebond Quick and Thick, and it's going to hold this together nicely. Now, I gave it all a good coat with the vintage linen. I actually gave it 2 coats. I'm clear waxing it really nicely, and I'm going to take a piece of brown felt. I'm tracing it out for the bottom. I'm going to finish out the bottom with that, and I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to use the Titebond Quick and Thick. I'm going to smear some along the bottom, making sure I get it all the way out to the edges, and then I'm just going to put that piece of brown felt on the bottom so that it will sit nicely and not scratch up the furniture, or just, it makes it look more finished. It just looks more professional, in my unprofessional opinion. Then I'm going to take some dark wax. This is DIY dark wax. I get all my DIY products from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. Her website is in my description box in every single video. It's a default. in there. So it's unicorndustdesigns.com. Head on over there and check out all the things she has for sale. You will not be disappointed. I'm going to use the Fix-All adhesive that you get at Dollar Tree. It's an awesome super glue. And I'm going to use it because I wasn't sure on this metal exactly what kind of glue I needed. And this glue was the perfect choice, let me tell you. So I put it in there. I held it down for a little while, and it dries pretty quick. Okay, I let it dry overnight. Look how pretty this looks. Look how pretty this looks. And I decided it needed a little bit of chiffon ribbon. Just a little bit. Now, if you want a really super neutral, you could use the first piece I showed you there. But, you know, it's kind of almost Valentine's Day. I wanted a little piece of blush ribbon on here. And so I'm just going to tie a little simple knot in the middle. And I made a little rosette and some little greenery on there. And I think this turned out adorable for a little candle holder. I promised you in the intro some beautiful salvaged wood, and this is it. Isn't this gorgeous? This looks like some crown molding taken out of a beautiful old home or possibly even a church or some building. I took out that old rusty crusty metal nail before I hurt myself, and I have these lock and key molds that I had previously poured. The keys came from my friend Myra over at Farm Fresh Design 59. She poured those for me because I didn't have the IOD mold to pour those. The locks were from a mold that I got off Amazon. So we are going to make a beautiful couple pieces with this. First, I'm taking, this is the White Lightning from Dixie Belle. It's a great cleaner. This is just what I had on hand. I have a bunch of it, so I'm going to use it before I purchase something else. I took an old toothbrush. This is not the one I use in my bathroom, thank you very much. And I decided just to scrub it down really good with that and get all the dirt and grime off of it. And then I wiped it down good with a damp cloth. I did take it outside and use my orbital sander on it very lightly just to get that old shellac off because it had a little layer of the shellac. When I used the White Lightning, it got a little bit sticky and you could see where some of that, it tried to take some of the shellac off, and you can see it a little bit in this picture. And I started sanding with my finger sander, and then I quickly realized that I needed to take it outside and use my orbital sander. And I didn't take all the finish off. I just wanted to get some of that, you know, that shellac off of there, and work smarter, not harder. Now I'm just going to take some dark wax, and I'm just going to richen up the color of this wood. Once I got it all sanded, I took a little chippy brush to get down in the crevices and got that dark wax all in there. I used my makeup brush that I like to use to wax with and got it all down in there. And then I took my soft little t-shirt, scrap of a t-shirt. Yeah, I took that toothbrush and I ran that all down in there and got it all down in there. And then I took my little scrap of a t-shirt. I just said that, hello. And buffed it out. And I think that it just turned out absolutely gorgeous. This is just, and it's a fairly heavy piece. So I think they turned out absolutely beautiful. One piece is a little bit, has a little richer color to it. This piece right here I'm working on now. You can see it's a little darker. Has a little richer color to it. But they look very similar. And I think they just have so much character. Okay, so for these little keys, I'm just painting this with a color I mixed up. I used some Queen Bee and a little bit of a brown. I can't remember if I used layered chocolate. I think I used a little layered chocolate in there to get this kind of gold, antique gold color. And then I'm going to do the half of them that color, and then half of them a gray color that I mixed up. And then we're going to use some rub and buff and some antique gold. You'll see this process along the way, but these are such beautiful keys. And I thought about doing them kind of rusty crusty, but I wanted to keep them kind of looking a little bit antique. And just, I love keys. I love old keys. And it kind of makes me think about, you know, how Jesus has the key to my heart, and how I have to keep my heart open for him and let him have the key to my heart. And, you know, just, I don't know, keys are just kind of special, and they unlock, and just, I don't know. I love keys, and I love old keys. So let me know if you like old keys and antique keys and skeleton keys, and if you like them. So we're going to use the Rub and Buff. I have some pewter and some ebony by Rub and Buff, and I'm going to use both of them on here. I decided to go ahead and cover the entire key with the pewter, and then I went back with the ebony and sort of just not dry brushed, I just sort of brushed over to bring out the detail. You'll kind of see what I'm doing here with it. And so I did all the silver ones like this, down in all the nooks and crannies, and then I squeezed out just a little bit of that ebony. It was a little bit more liquid than paste. And so I guess I kind of did do a little bit dry brush over it, but I love the way it turned out. Now the gold ones, I used the DIY gilding wax, gold gilding wax, and I covered the entire thing with it. This gilding wax is so beautiful, and it's so creamy and so smooth, and it takes very little. I mean, I barely dabbed it in there. So if you think this is like, oh, it's so pricey, but I'm telling you, it will last you forever. So go ahead and get you some, because it's beautiful. And then I had this gilding polish, metallic gilding polish. I think someone probably gave this to me. I've had this in my stash for a long time, and it's more of a bronze. And so I just kind of dabbed it, stippled it over a little bit on the high points, just to give it that antique gold look. And so I did some keys and some locks like this. Now on the back of these, I put a hanger. I think they would be beautiful shelf sitters because the bottom is level, but you also could hang them on the wall. I think they would be beautiful individual, or I think that they would be nice together. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to put where, and then I just remembered that we're mixing the colors, so it doesn't really matter. But I have to decide if the locks are going on the short one or the long one, and I think I had more locks than I had keys. So here we go. We're going to just arrange them, and then I'm going to use Titebond Quick and Thick and a little bit of hot glue, and just get them how I want them, and then glue them down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No lemon here, just easy peasy. Now I'm thinking, does that look good? Yep, we're going for it. Just go for it. Don't overthink it, right? I had to be sure that I didn't let any of that hang over the bottom, because we want it to be a shelf sitter as well. I absolutely love these. I will have all of the projects that I make in my videos, unless I decide to keep them. I will have them for sale in my Whatnot shows. My granddaughter Desiree and I have started having Whatnot sales. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a live auction. And it is so fun. Even if you don't buy anything, feel free to come over and chat. You can chat while we do the auction. It is so fun. I'll leave a link to it in the description box, or on my community tab. You can always find a link to it over there as well. We love to have you come over and just chat. You are not obligated to purchase anything at all. But we always do have the DIYs. We have some vintage things and just some random stuff for sale, and some entertainment. I don't know if you want to call it entertainment, but we just visit with people who show up in our chat, show up to our show. So I'm just using a little bit of velvet ribbon that I got from Amazon, and I thought the gold and the pewter looking velvet ribbon added to this vintage look, because this reminds me of, days gone by. I don't know what era. What era do you think this? I think from the 70s. It reminds me of the 70s, but even further back, like maybe, I don't even want to say, maybe the 30s. Let me know. Let me know what you think that velvet ribbon was really from. I know we had it in the 70s, but I think even way earlier than that. This is not really even a DIY. This was a book stack that I made a year or two ago, and it was for 4th of July, and I knew that I wanted to make it where I could redo it at some point. So I just pulled the bow off the top, which was very patriotic, and I'm just going to put some canvas drop cloth around it, some burlap ribbon from my stash, and just glue that around the top. And you know, I'm putting just a little bit of glue on top of each other, very little on the book, so when I get ready to, I can take this off as well. Now, you might remember, I'm going to make a little, just a double loop bow here, just something very simple. We're keeping this really simple. I don't even know if you could call this a DIY or not. This is an upcycle. I don't know if you remember that tag I made last week or week before. I've lost track of time with the holidays, my friends, but I'm just going to wrap that twine around the middle of that bow to hold it together and tighten a knot. And then I'm going to use that tag, that rusty crusty tag. I think that was from last week. We haven't had a whatnot show in a couple weeks, but we're going to have one tonight. And so we would love to have y'all come over, and we're going to have this book stack in the sale. So you'll for sure want to come over. And I'm just going to attach it to the bow. Make it super simple, but I think this looks adorable. I guess if I sell this, I won't be making it over again, right? But if someone wanted to, they could make it over again. But I think this turns out just lovely. That's it for this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave it a thumbs up and a comment below which was your favorite, because that really helps out my channel. And starting the new year, things kind of get started off slow, so help your girl out here, and let's get this video some views, some likes, all the good stuff. But most of all, above anything else, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.